Van Gogh painted the Starry Night in June 1889, from inside a psychiatric asylum in St. Remy. He had checked himself involuntarily after the ear incident. The view from his window faced east at sunrise, but the painting shows the opposite direction, at night, a scene reconstructed entirely from memory and imagination. He thought it was a failure. In letters to Theo and to his friend Émile Bernard, he called it exaggerated and described it as an example of what not to do. He never saw it hang in a museum. He died convinced he had failed. In 2024, physicists confirmed that the swirling patterns in the sky follow Kolmogorov's theory of turbulence, a mathematical law describing how fluids actually move. Van Gogh painted this structure accurately in 1889. The math to explain it wasn't developed until 1941. The tall dark shape on the left is a cypress tree. In Mediterranean culture, cypresses grow in cemeteries. They're symbols of death and eternal life. Van Gogh wrote to Theo that he found them as beautiful as an Egyptian obelisk, struck by sunlight. When NASA's Hubble Space Telescope photographed a dying star's dust cloud in 2004, the image looked almost identical to the Starry Night, the same spiraling motion, the same light diffusing through gas. A painting made inside an asylum had somehow captured a structure that science would only confirm a century later. Van Gogh wrote 820 letters to his brother Theo during his lifetime. Some weeks he wrote more than one a day. The letters are so detailed that historians can reconstruct his psychological state almost week by week across the entire final decade of his life. Before he ever picked up a brush, Van Gogh worked as an art dealer for 6 years, a language teacher in England, a theology student, and a lay preacher in a Belgian coal mining town. He gave everything he owned to the miners. He was fired for excessive zeal. He only turned to painting at age 27. Theo supported Vincent financially every single month for 10 years, sending a fixed allowance, paying for supplies, for doctors, for the asylum. Vincent sent paintings in return. In all that time, they sold almost nothing. Theo kept paying anyway. In 1888, Vincent wrote to Theo about his plan for the Yellow House in Arles. He wanted to create a studio where artists could live and work together. He painted the Sunflower series to decorate the room he was preparing for Gauguin. The two men spent 9 weeks together before the relationship collapsed. After both Vincent and Theo died, it was Theo's wife, Jo Bonjour, who preserved the letters, organized the paintings, and spent decades promoting Vincent's work. Without her, the archive might have been scattered or lost. She is the reason the story survived at all. On the night of December 23, 1888, Van Gogh cut off part of his left ear with a razor. Researchers now believe it was most of the lower portion of the ear, not just the lobe. He wrapped it in newspaper and walked to a nearby brothel. He handed the package to a cleaner named Rachel and said, "Keep this object carefully." She fainted. The most widely accepted explanation is that Gauguin, who had been living with Van Gogh for 9 weeks, had just announced he was leaving. For Van Gogh, who had organized his life around the idea of an artist's colony in Arles, the news was devastating. The next morning, police found him unconscious, having lost a significant amount of blood. Gauguin was the one who called the police. Then he immediately left for Paris and never saw Van Gogh again. A theory published in 2009 argued that Gauguin actually cut the ear with a fencing sword during a fight, and that Van Gogh invented the self-mutilation story to protect his friend. The Van Gogh Museum dismisses this as unsupported. Van Gogh painted 2 self-portraits with the bandaged ear in the weeks after the incident, both from memory, looking into a mirror. He resumed painting almost immediately after leaving the hospital. He painted 42 works in the month of February 1889 alone. 2 months after the ear incident, 30 residents of Arles signed a petition to have Van Gogh permanently committed. They called him the Mad Redhead. He voluntarily entered the St. Paul de Mossel Asylum in May 1889, where he would paint over 150 works, including the Starry Night. Van Gogh painted the Sunflower series in August 1888, in the weeks before Gauguin arrived in Arles. He was decorating his guest room. He wrote to Theo, "I am working with the enthusiasm of a Marseillaise eating bouillabaisse." He painted 4 large canvases in just 2 weeks. There are at least 7 major sunflowers paintings by Van Gogh, not one. He made multiple versions of the same arrangement, exploring different numbers of flowers, different vase positions, different stages of bloom. He considered the sunflower his personal symbol and wrote to Theo, "The sunflower is mine." The brilliant yellow you see in the sunflowers today is fading. Van Gogh used chrome yellow, a lead-based pigment that was cheap and vivid. Exposed to light over time, it converts to an olive-brown compound. The originals, when first painted, were far more intensely yellow than what we see now in any museum. One version of the sunflowers, from the Van Gogh Museum collection, sold in 1987 for $39.9 million, becoming the most expensive painting ever sold at auction at that time. The buyer was a Japanese insurance company. Van Gogh gave the original to Gauguin as a gift. Gauguin kept it until his death. Gauguin loved the sunflower so much that after the ear incident, when their friendship was destroyed, he wrote to Theo asking if he could still have the painting. Van Gogh, from the hospital, made a copy from memory and sent it to him. He had painted the original to welcome a friend. He repainted it to say goodbye. Van Gogh made more than 900 paintings and 1,100 drawings in the last 10 years of his life, starting at 27, dead at 37. That is roughly 2 completed paintings every week, for a decade. He worked in bursts of extraordinary intensity, sometimes finishing multiple canvases in a single day. In his entire lifetime, he is known to have sold exactly 1 painting. The Red Vineyard, workers harvesting grapes at sunset, sold for 400 francs at a Brussels exhibition in March 1890. About $2,000 in today's money. 4 months later, he was dead. Van Gogh died on July 29, 1890, 2 days after being shot in a wheat field near Auvers-sur-Oise. He told the doctor he had shot himself. He walked back to the inn, climbed to his room, and lit his pipe. His last words were reportedly, "La tristesse durera toujours." The sadness will last forever. Theo Van Gogh died 6 months later, at age 33. It was Jo Bonger, Theo's widow, who gathered the 900 paintings and 820 letters and spent the next 40 years making sure the world knew who Vincent was. She organized the first major exhibitions. She translated and published the letters. She succeeded. In 1990, Van Gogh's portrait of Dr. Gachet sold for $82.5 million, the most expensive painting ever sold at that point. His irises had sold for $53.9 million in 1987. His wheat field with crows hangs in the Van Gogh Museum. The man who sold 1 painting for 400 francs is now the definition of misunderstood genius.